Japan right now.
Proud sponsor of the 2008 U.S. Olympic and Paralympic teams.
Goalkeeping position so important at this level. We saw Hope Solo. Now we see Aaron McLeod for Canada. Over the ball, the Canadians in red, USA in white. In the knockout stage, Brandi Chastain, everything is different. You lose, you go home.
Absolutely different. The tournament is a one-game tournament.
You like that for the pressure?
I love it. This is what it's all about right here. The excitement.
Look at this. Another early goal and the chip.
That's great vision by Angela Hucles, actually. I think she saw the goalkeeper perhaps a little bit off her line. It's a great early opportunity, just like the last game for the U.S.
Remember the last game? Heather O'Reilly, 40 seconds in. That's an Olympic record on the women's side.
That would have been earlier.
Yeah. What were the odds of that? Back-to-back, record-breaking first goals. Heather Mitts on the chase. 15, Cara Lang, certainly one of the players to watch for Canada. Keep your eyes on number 12 as well, Christine Sinclair. Not having a strong tournament yet, but we were making this point yesterday, Brandi. This is the first time that maybe the best impact player in the field plays for Canada in this long-time rivalry. The USA always had the best player or best players.
There's no doubt, and Christine Sinclair can score goals like the best in the world. She maybe have been hovering around in this tournament and maybe hasn't put up the numbers, same as Birgit Prince for Germany. I think she's very dangerous. You cannot lose sight of her.
USA starting lineup similar to game one, except for Natasha Kai coming off the subs bench. She had started in that opening match, but Kate Markgraf is back, which is good news for the USA. She missed the last game, feeling under the weather, but she is back. You need that experience today.
Absolutely. Having her back there, I think, will give the team a collective sigh of relief. Just like, okay, now we can settle down. We're in our comfort zone. We can play the kind of soccer that we've been looking to play this whole tournament.
Shannon Boxx tapping that forward. The Canadians get it back with Rustad toward the box. U.S. denying that. There's Tarpley. Long clearance. They're looking for the speed of Amy Rodriguez. Candace Chapman was back with her stride for stride, and the foul goes against the United States. Talked about the Canadian lineup, players to watch. Certainly Christine Sinclair is one of them. Who else do you like on the Canadian side?
Actually, talking with Christine Lilly, she says number 8, Matheson. She's tiny. She's darting in and out of the midfield. She's a handful. She doesn't have in stature what the other players have, but she really knows how to get in and around the ball.
You mentioned Christine Lilly. Saw you guys doing a little pregame with Matt Vasgersian. We'll have Christine Lilly on during this game with us, and then later look forward to visiting with halftime and even post-game as well on the Soccer Channel. Shannon Boxx will push this one up. The numbers say David versus Goliath, lopsided in favor of the United States, but we would expect this game to be closer, wouldn't we, on the field?
Absolutely. Those numbers are insignificant right now. Really, this game is going to be about heart. It's going to be about determination. It's going to be about being opportunistic at the right time. It may not come first half, first 15 minutes of the second half. It actually may come at the very end of the game.
Ooh, Sinclair nearly sprung Lang. That's a big play for Christy Rampone. Speed of the USA backline could be a factor in this one.
Well, we've been talking about that all tournament, JP. The fact that Heather Mitts, Christy Rampone, Kate Markgraf, for example, they all have good makeup speed. In case one of them get caught, maybe there's a good dribble situation, they can recover.
On the turn, Carly Lloyd to Heather O'Reilly.
You notice that space between Heather O'Reilly, who's the right midfielder, and the forwards? If they can close that gap, they're going to be able to achieve more what Coach Pia Sundhage is talking about, which is possessing the ball.
Boxx pushing forward is broken up. Sophie Schmidt is on it, out of the University of Portland. So many of these Canadian players educated in the United States, played soccer at many of the very good soccer schools in the U.S. Slotted through. They were looking for Rodriguez. Cut off there and given away. That's O'Reilly setting it inside, headed out of the box. Too far for Sinclair, pushed up by Matheson. U.S. will send it back wide for Tarpley, and that goes out of play.
we've also talked about the first 5 minutes. Right now, everybody's frantic. The ball, the pace is going. It's raining, so the field is slick. Nice deep breath right now would be really a great idea for both teams, just to settle down. I mean, the excitement of the game is there. Your heart is pumping. You can feel the excitement on your skin. I mean,
as long as you play the game, even as a veteran, you'd still feel that, right?
Absolutely. Even before the game would start, I would have butterflies, like, you know, not nervous or scared butterflies, but just excitement. That's what this game brings to these players, just a new excitement level. And Canada's never been in this position before.
It's good butterflies.
It's good butterflies. You know, I tell kids out there all the time, it's okay to be nervous before the game. It's not nervous about what you know, whether you can do it or not. You know you can.
Shannon Boxx on the left, pressured by Schmidt. Pushed forward by Markgraf. She was continuing to run, but the flag goes up.
Well, that's something we haven't seen all tournament. We had a combination play between the left back and the center back in the attacking third of the field. Here we have Kate Markgraf playing to Shannon Boxx in an offside position, but that at least is telling me there's confidence. We're not going to sit back. We're not waiting for things to happen to us. We're going to be proactive. That's what the player is going through the player's mind right now.
Sophie Schmidt will play it to the right. Headed away by Rampone. Past the halfway line. Canada will get it back with a Chapman long ball. Lang trying to catch up to it. Plays at UCLA. So does USA player Lauren Cheney. Teammates there.
There's a lot of connections. Pia Sundhage's assistant coach Jillian Ellis also is the head coach at UCLA. So they know each other. This is very familiar territory in terms of personalities.
Evan Pellerud, near side of the screen. His assistant coach Ian Bridge was beside him. Again, it's his last game. If Canada loses, Canada hopes to extend it. Cleared by Martina Franko. Now it's blocked by Markgraf. You can see the rain. You can hear it. It's getting heavier. Chalupny with a cross. Hucles the shot. She put it over. She's had a couple of good chances early.
Look at that rain. That's unbelievable. That's a distraction in itself. And whoever can manage that best will, win this game, I believe. It's a great ball by Lori Chalupny. Angela Hucles does actually a great job to bring it down and not try and just swing at it first time.
It's going to be harder to bring those down now, right? Wet field, wet ball.
Absolutely. And this is a situation where the defenders have to be extra careful, because if you notice on that cross, it skipped past the first defender. You really have to have your feet underneath you. You have to be ready. You have to anticipate. You can't just react to something. It will be too late under these conditions.
They're expecting these rains. They had the thunder and lightning yesterday, and everyone was talking about how marvelous the field was, despite having 7 matches played so far on the field and the weather taking its toll. Throw in for Heather Mitz. O'Reilly with that pass that's blocked. Emily Zurrer will push it over. She's out of the University of Illinois. Claire Rustad with that pass that's denied by the U.S. 9th minute, pushed forward by Tarpley. Rodriguez laid it off. Chapman came in hard. Advantage call. Now you're going to call the foul as Lloyd was detained. Jenny Palmquist says that's enough.
It's a good touch by Carly Lloyd. You don't tell kids to grab shirts or grab shorts, but there are times when it's smart tactically to have a foul. The U.S. was on a bit of a break there, and Chapman, I believe, did the right thing for her team.
Throw in for number 2, Heather Mitz from Cincinnati, University of Florida. Right side, Zurrer defending O'Reilly. Out it goes. Goal kick.
We'll see if they allow a goal kick, or she's going to. I heard the whistle being blown. I don't know if that was for a goal kick or a foul. Yeah. That's not advantage to me. The referee should just let it go out of bounds. Okay, fine. Maybe I would have called the foul. That doesn't do Canada any good to have that foul given there. A little more subtlety by the referee in that circumstance I'd like to see. I'm going to critique the referees now.
That's all right.
They've actually been very good this tournament, I believe.
Martina Franco's long clearance is denied. Picked up. O'Reilly. Hucles was looking for some help. Had Rodriguez there, couldn't hit her. O'Reilly got almost through there. Here's Hucles again, cutting. For O'Reilly. Nice ball for Mitz, who's up. The cross is bending inside, not a down. Way out of the box it goes. Long shot there is tipped. Who touched it last? It's going to be a corner. Chalupny came flying through.
Over the last 3 games, we've been talking about shooting from outside the box, and it's a good shot. The reason it's a good shot today is because it's wet, it's slippery, it could deflect off anybody and go into the back of the net.
Lindsay Tarpley will take this corner. USA's first of the match. Sent inside, Boxx in the air. It's one of her strengths. She got to that but headed it wide.
The first 10 minutes for the U.S. has been impressive, JP. I think they've calmed down. They've actually held the ball with more patience. They've made some good change of the field passes. They've gotten the wide backs already into the game. This is already much better than the first 3 games we've seen.
Knockout round begins today. You lose and you're out. That's what these players are facing now that group play is over. Canada will try to slot it through. Rampone in a good spot to take it away from Tancredi. She sends it upfield towards Hucles, laid off there. O'Reilly in the middle, a bit too far in front of her. She recovered well. The ball just died there.
That's something we'll also see throughout this game, how well this field drains.
Rodriguez with a cross. Players are open. Tapped in. Goal for Hucles.
This is a great goal by the U.S. Great cross, good knockback down. This is a bad scenario for the goalkeeper and perhaps for Canada.
The ball was looking like it may have gone in on its own, but Hucles didn't want to fool around with it, at least from this angle. Let's see again.
It's a wonderful, wonderful cross by Amy Rodriguez to the far post. Heather O'Reilly does exactly what she should do, which is knock it back towards the far post, giving the ball a chance to either go off a defender, go straight in, or be knocked in by your teammate.
Who would have thought that Angela Hucles, going into the quarterfinals, would be the leading goal scorer on the U.S., but she is, but only with the 2 goals.
That's what's so great about these tournaments, the Olympics, the World Cup. Players step up to the plate. They do really step up and become noticed. It's great.
She didn't collide, did she, McLeod, with anybody? It was just the way she landed on her knee?
I think it was a step and a turn.
Yeah. It's a good save that she made, and then she looked like she rolled over it. So 2 bad signs for Canada. Giving up that goal, the first goal of the game, now trailing. Their longtime nemesis, the USA, and their #1 goalkeeper is hurting.
Unfortunately, I've been in this knee situation many, many times, and let's take a look. I'm not a physician, so can't make any determination.
No.
But you never want to see your goalkeeper. At least if it was a field player, she could come off the field. You could kind of evaluate it. She could catch her breath.
And it's good that they give her a little extra time here too.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Maybe just the way she came down and landed.
Concern for the goalkeeper. We'll see how she goes. Obviously, Canada doesn't want to have to replace the #1 goalkeeper for a lot of reasons.
No.
First, she's your #1, but you don't want to have to burn a sub in that position.
I think that's absolutely the biggest reason. You know, I'm sure they feel comfortable with Karina LeBlanc. Yeah. You know, she has plenty of years of playing for the national team, also playing professional soccer. But you don't want to have to waste a sub this early in the game, #1, as the U.S. had found out with Lori Chalupny. But you also, you just want to have that confidence in knowing that goalkeeper's in there as well.
U.S. has the lead on an Angela Hucles goal. It came in the 12th minute. Zurrer will push it up. Chalupny pressured there by Matheson. Goes out of play. Canada will have a throw in.
These next 5 minutes are critical, not only because there was a goal scored, and we've talked about that before, how goals have a tendency to come one right after the other, but because there was that stoppage time with the injury. So the ability to refocus and settle down, especially for Canada.
On a bounce, it goes back to Hope Solo.
It's a good play, good communication.
You're watching exclusive coverage of the 2008 Beijing Olympics on USA. Right here, USA leads Canada 1-0. Goal by Angela Hucles in this driving rain. This is Chalupny pushing it up for Tarpley. The cross inside. Hucles again. That's blocked. O'Reilly across. Was that handled? That was a close call.
Oh my gosh, that was pretty close. Angela Hucles could have made it 2-0 in the first 15 minutes.
I think one of the things they have to do is get chances quickly on McLeod to see how she is, and that was an opportunity.
Absolutely, it is definitely a tactic that you should use. As soon as there's a player such as the goalkeeper that gets injured, you should go right at them, test them.
The Canada's ball. It's the first tournament USA's ever played without Christine Lilly. We'll have Christine Lilly with us coming up later in this first half, so stick around for that. She'll be with us later on the soccer channel. Quick low shot is stopped by Hope Solo.
That ball seemed to slow up in this grass. I think the obviously we can see on the sideline there, it's pooling on the side. I can only imagine what it's like on the field. You see the spray of water coming off the ball as it travels across the grass.
Hucles made a nice pass up. Now it's sent forward all the way back to Erin McLeod.
And all the press and the media have been talking about what kind of battle this is going to be. It's going to be physical. It's going to be a dogfight. So far, the game has actually been quite nice. I think the U.S. has actually controlled the pace of the game. They've made good passes. The ball's gone up to the forwards. It's got knocked back to the midfielders. It got played wide. If they continue to do that, Canada won't be able.
This was a Hucles last chance, we believe. Yes.
It's a good defensive play by number 3, Zurrer.
Sent long off that set piece. That's where Canada can be dangerous. If you're Canada, though, I think you'd have to be concerned. I don't think Christine Sinclair's touched the ball in the first 17 minutes.
No, but I honestly, having played against Christine Sinclair in Canada many times, that was almost more dangerous because she could hover in the game, and the next thing you know, there she is in front of the goal with the ball at her feet.
That's Sophie Schmidt. Plays for Vancouver in the W League. She's 20 years of age. University of Portland as well.
These are those balls at the indecisive. Look at how high the line is.
Karina LeBlanc is going to be coming in. You can hear that thunder. Candace Chapman floats that one up, and that bounces wide.
It's very dangerous.
We are going to see a goalkeeping change, and it's unfortunate for McLeod. You don't want to have to leave a game, but here's Solo pushing it forward, sending it toward the sideline.
The first thing the U.S. should do right away, put a shot on goal.
Hucles again, looking very dangerous, bounced right back up. Canada trying to sweep it away. You can hear the audio. All the thunder in the background. Of course, they won't stop the game for this kind of rain, but they will if you see the lightning.
Absolutely.
You wonder if that's next. That is going to be the substitution, and Karina LeBlanc will be coming on. And the last time Canada beat the USA, it was LeBlanc in goal back in 2001.
That's comforting. They have to feel very comfortable with her in the goal. She's been a fixture with their team for many years, a proven professional. The key is to get her into the game. You know, whether it's a back pass, she makes an early, easy save.
Here's Lloyd. She'll test her from distance.
That's exactly what the U.S. should be doing right now, is testing her to see how her hands are. It's raining. She's been sitting on the sideline. She's not properly warmed up. Best thing to do is challenge her early and often.
Off that goal kick from LeBlanc, 20th minute. USA scoring first, and a goal by Hucles. And on that goal, that's where the goalkeeper McLeod was injured. She stayed in the game and then left minutes later. Shannon Boxx with it, pushing it forward. And Canada will recover this with Chapman. Headed straight up by Tancredi. Lang was looking for it, couldn't get it. That's off Sinclair, and then Rampone sends it the other way.
Even though I said it's okay for Canada if Sinclair it doesn't touch the ball a lot, when it does come to her, she has to do much more than what she did. They're going to rely on her to hold the ball for them.
I have a feeling they may be stopping this, or at least that's what they're discussing. When the world feed was showing us those pictures, that's what I was thinking in the back of my mind, that they're getting weather forecasts and they see what's here, and lightning is either there or is on the way, and so they will suspend this for now. And you know at home what we know here, seeing the same pictures, so we'll try to get an update. We're going to be switching to another game in just a couple of moments, waiting for clearance. Stay with us. We're going to switch now to coverage of Brazil versus Norway. Today's women's Olympic quarterfinal match between the USA and Canada. As you see, Angela Hucles' goal comes to you from Shanghai Stadium, and we are broadcasting from our NBC Olympic studios in New York City, very far away from the lightning strikes in the stadium. That was a celebration by Pia Sundhage, the head coach of the USA women's national team, on the Angela Hucles' goal, which is the difference in this one at the moment. And due to the lightning delay in this game, USA-Canada, the USA women's basketball game versus Spain will be seen in its entirety at the conclusion of this game on the USA Network. Brandy mentioned Christine Lilly. She'll be joining us later on in this telecast to talk about this game and U.S. women's national team. Well, the referee with a few words about how this game will be restarted.
I was going to ask that myself because I've never been in this situation.
Yeah, we'll see what the world feed does when the clock comes up, what it will say, etc. And it's Canada's ball on the throw-in. So that's probably the way it was when the lightning struck. Who remembers? It was an hour and a half ago. But there's your score. It's a knockout competition. Hope you enjoyed coverage of the other game that we brought to you, Brazil-Norway. Brazil was up 2-0. Norway came back on a penalty kick, but in the end, Brazil moves on. Knotted down by Boxx. Cut back on the right. O'Reilly. Broken up, sent back the other way by Sophie Schmidt. Whistle blows. Flag was up. For those of you just joining us, or for those who forgot, an hour and a half ago, this is the starting lineup today for the USA.
You have to look at the two front runners for the USA, Amy Rodriguez, Angela Hucles. They've both done a great job of holding the ball, creating a possession for the US. They need to continue that for the rest of the game.
Kara Lang looking. Foul was called. Kara Lang scored her first goal for Canada at the age of 15. Candace Chapman, attended the University of Notre Dame. She will take this free kick. She scored one goal so far in this tournament, has played in every minute of the first 3 matches. One was blocked right away off Rodriguez. Headed straight up. Canada good in the air. They win this to the box. Martina Franko. There's a foul that's called on her as Markgraf went down.
That's the type of goal Canada's very good at scoring. So the U.S. has to not only look to win the first ball, but be prepared as Kate Markgraf was there for the second ball.
With players like Abby Wambach out of the lineup, we'll get to that in a minute. Here's the Canada lineup. And the one change, LeBlanc had to come in as a sub for the injured McLeod.
That's not what Coach Evan Pellerud would like to do in the first 15 minutes of a match, change a goalkeeper. So now they only have 2 left. But look for Christine St. Clair to make a difference for Canada in this game.
Talking about Canada's aerial presence, I was going to say, with Abby Wambach injured out of the tournament, is Canada now better or equal to the USA in terms of in the air?
I would say that they're still very good, yes, but I'm not so sure better. The U.S. is still good in the air. I don't think that is going, weighing on their mind.
Carly Lloyd bringing it forward, sending it long, looking for the speed of Rodriguez, trying to stretch the Canadians defensively. We saw her speed in the last couple of games. This is her third straight start for Amy Rodriguez from Beverly Hills, California, and USC.
Carly Lloyd has to remember what happened in the first 15 minutes. They were knocking and moving the ball, getting to the ball to the feet of the forwards. They were then knocking it back, and then they were going forward. It's hard to make a final pass from your own half. I think she's excitable. She likes to make those passes that go through 2 or 3 lines of defenses, but with the field being wet, with the field being spread, and Amy Rodriguez being only 1 player high, I think it's better that she just keep the possession, keep the whole team moving up the field.
Going for Emily Zurrer. It's going to head to that. Sophie Schmidt gave it right back to Carly Lloyd. To Boxx, back for Lloyd. Tarpley's there too.
That's much better.
Good exchange all around. Here's Chalupny up from her left back spot. The cross, and it's right to Karina LeBlanc.
Once that ball gets out wide to Lori Chalupny, I'd love to see one of the U.S. players maybe making an overlap around her. Not so much that they're going to get the ball, but then the defender has to choose. Am I going to stay with the ball? Am I going to go with the runner? And then once that defender chooses, the player on the ball has options. Instead, what ends up happening is it goes down that channel, and it stays there, and then it's only a cross. It's very predictable. Instead of Lindsay Tarpley coming for a very short wall pass, I think movement around the ball on the outside, recreating a little bit of width, more beneficial.
Tarpley will play this one forward. On the run, O'Reilly, no flag up. O'Reilly shot blocked, and LeBlanc comes out and gets it.
It's a great ball through by Lindsay Tarpley. I think the first touch just got away from Heather O'Reilly.
See that ball seemed to die in there too,
yeah.
Coming in.
I think in that situation, I was always taught when I was playing up front, always be prepared to shoot first. Shoot first. If you have to take a touch, then take a touch. But always be ready to shoot at any moment. It's always coming to you.
Hucles tried to turn. Chapman broke her up. Schmidt. Now played forward by the U.S. Amy Rodriguez. To the outside. Tarpley with 1 goal in this tournament. Came in the last game, looking across. That's blocked. She's got it back at the end line. Plays it across. She wanted O'Reilly swept away by Canada.
The only thing I would say differently than what Lindsay Tarpley did, she did a great job of actually dribbling along the end line. This is a smart play. Now the ball just has to be brought back at the penalty spot, perhaps, maybe where Carly Lloyd is standing. The defense is collapsing into the goal, and all Lindsay is doing there is shoving it into a space that's really full of players. You have to play against the momentum of the defenders.
Zurrer heads that one forward. Tancredi lost it there for Lloyd. Then Lloyd went down. Advantage call U.S. They didn't get much of an advantage there, though.
Canada's not used to playing the ball through their midfield, and what I've heard from the games earlier in the group games is that it really was played over the top of them. It would bypass them, and they would just hustle to get in behind the forwards. So right now, the U.S. is putting them in an uncomfortable position to have the ball at their feet.
They've been criticized by the Canadian media, at least the reports that we've seen, about too much of the long ball, and it's not as much as they used to play. They've tried to mix it up a little bit, but it's still predominant long ball, similar to the old Norway style that you played against when Evan Pellerud coached them. And he is now coaching Canada. He has since 2000. As Pia Sundhage, the USA's coach.
So Carol Lang didn't see Shannon Boxx coming in.
So Brazil 2, Norway 1. A couple of nice goals in that game for Brazil. Marta scored one with her jersey and shoulder being dragged down, almost kept her balance. Scored a nice one on Daniela with one from long distance. So they're in to the semifinals. Take on the winner of Germany versus Sweden. We could have a rematch of that World Cup final in the first game of our tournament. This year's tournament was scoreless between those two.
You brought something up about the media kind of giving the Canadians and Coach Evan Pellerud a hard time about playing direct. Norway's been playing direct style for years and years and years and been incredibly successful. I think what the media is saying is if you're going to play that style, you have to make it your own, and you have to be so good at it that it wins you games. You know, you just can't hang around and then all of a sudden have no default.
But even Norway's tried to change that in the last year or so.
Right, and it's not my preferred style. I would much rather play a possession-oriented game, you know, where you do have the flexibility to play long balls if it's what's given to you in the match. But you can't argue with the success Norway had with playing direct soccer.
They won a World Cup with it and a gold medal too. Pushed forward. Carly Lloyd looked for O'Reilly. That's blocked by Zurrer. Lloyd got it back. 29th minute. If you are just joining us and wondering why we're at this stage, it was a 1 hour and a half approximate delay because of lightning. Tancredi leads us for Matheson. Swept away. Matheson kept it moving for Lang, and that's knocked out. That's the speed of Matheson that you and Christine Lilly had talked about before, how she gets in.
Yeah, she's very quick. She knows how to use her body. She's got a good low center of gravity. We talked earlier also, JP, in the group games about transition, offense to defense and defense to offense. Both these teams have a tendency to give the ball away too easily. I see the U.S. kind of shoring that up a little bit. I'm not so sure Canada can change that about their game.
USA came in with some momentum. They lost the first game to Norway, won the next two via shutout. Canada won their first, drew in the second, lost that last match to Sweden. But this is the knockout stage. Winner goes on, loser goes home as Sinclair fires. Oh, she tied it. Christine Sinclair. 1-1.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Canada and Christine Sinclair can seem like they're not in the game, and then the next thing you know, there she is. She pops up, the ball at her foot. She has a great strike on the ball. She gets right through the screws.
That's a brilliant strike.
It's a brilliant goal. A tackle away that ends up at her feet, and she comes right through the middle of it. Look, that ball has almost no spin on it.
She probably didn't touch the ball a half a dozen times so far, but all she needed was one. That is her first goal of this game, second of this tournament, 95th international goal.
I'm not getting on Heather Mitts here, but this is a scenario. You have a throw-in in your own half. You have to make sure you keep possession. Throw-in may or may not have been that great, but the player who's receiving it needs to take care of the ball. And next thing you know, you have two players sliding for the ball, and now it ends up at the foot of Sinclair. All of a sudden, you're going to see a change in the tide here. Canada is going to get in harder on tackles. They're going to win head balls. This now is turning into more of their game than it was the U.S.'s game.
Tarpley's after this. Wilkinson defends off Chapman. And Chapman will send it long. U.S. sends it right back where it came from. And the foul is called.
I liken Christine Sinclair to like the embers in the fire that are just, you know, they're really hot, but you can't tell. And all of a sudden one poke to them and all of a sudden it's just a blaze. That's the type of player she is. Very dangerous and can be hot in an instant.
As we watch her strike, I talked to your former head coach, Tony DeCicco, on the national team level, and next year head coach of the Boston Breakers of WPS, and he calls Christine Sinclair one of the top 10 strikers in the world, and probably closer to 5 than 10. A gifted player she is, and she showed it with that tying goal.
What you saw in her technique is outstanding. Very compact. It comes from her hip, very tight and locked all the way down through her ankle, and she has a follow through and she lands on her kicking foot. Head is very still. She's what I call a slow twitcher. She's not, you know, you don't see her making these darting, dashing things in and out of players, but she can pick up speed over over space, but she just has incredible control in shooting. It's marvelous to watch.
Schmidt will play it forward.
She's actually similar to Carly Lloyd in that way, who has also the ability to hit a ball with some pace and some power.
I was going to ask you what the comparison might be to an Abby Wambach. Abby with 99 international goals. Sinclair now with 95.
Well, I think they're both similar, obviously. They're big in stature. They do have good pace over distance. They're technically gifted with both feet. I think Abby scores maybe a few more fortuitous, opportunistic goals than Christine Sinclair, but I think they're both fabulous goal scorers and people that are incredibly integral to the success of their teams.
1-1 here, 34th minute. Canada are right back in it with some confidence. Tarpley over the top. Hucles is in. Sent it wide. She's had about 3 good chances here in this game.
She's had 4 good chances, and you know, I like the fact that she's shooting to the far post. She hits it first time, which is right. You know, in this situation, obviously, from where I'm sitting, it's much easier. You know, she just didn't quite get that with her laces. But I'd also like to see Angela Hucles do this. She can bend the ball with the outside of her right foot to the far post. She's very capable of doing that. She's a great technical player. She values all those small little touches on the ball.
Canada pushing up right flank. 7 is Rianne Wilkinson. Knocked away. Sinclair has it. Lloyd tracking her. Chapman. Wide for Lang. Kara Lang cutting against Mitz, bodied her off the ball, and they didn't have much in the way of that shot.
It looks, JP, like Christine Sinclair has kind of come back into the midfield a little bit, which is an unusual place for her because I'm so used to seeing her up front.
Yeah.
But actually seems to be really dangerous because instead of having her back to goal and being a post-up player, she can actually use that speed and going forward on the dribble or balls that are getting played through. This is an interesting tactic.
Coming back, Rodriguez. She almost went down, and now I think she'll get the call against her. Yes.
The number 10, Franko, does a great job of catching up with Amy Rodriguez. I have known Martina Franko for probably 20 years
Your
or
neighbors
more.
at all?
She's from Northern California. Yeah. She and her sister grew up playing soccer in my area, so I've watched her for a long time. I actually played with her on a club team. Last name was Holland before becoming Franko. I was greatly surprised when I got the roster, not just before this game, but before the tournament. I thought, oh my gosh, she is very familiar.
Yeah.
So, you know, very wonderful to see her playing in the Olympic Games.
Colorado College for her. She's started every game, played every minute so far for Canada.
She was a forward in her earlier days. Maybe that's a switch in terms of just being comfortable with the ball and being able to play the ball over distance. It's what's caught the eye of Evan Pellerud.
Sinclair and Hucles are the goal scorers in this one. A 1-1 game. We've seen a lot of things in this one. A lightning delay for about an hour and a half and a change in goal for Canada because of an injury. We're still in the first half. Lang trying to move it back, deflected out.
This whole possession for Canada came from the composure of Chapman, number 9, in the back. The ball's around chest height. Instead of panicking and just clearing it out, she takes it down. She makes a nice pass to the right midfielder, who then plays a cross-field pass to Kara Lang. That's great soccer by Canada.
Lang leaves it off. The cross went to the near post wide from Emily Zurrer.
That's not as great.
You're watching the USA Network, home of the U.S. Olympic team. It is 1-1 between the USA and Canada. The game coming to you from Shanghai Stadium. We're in our New York City studios. We had some lightning that caused this game to be postponed for about an hour and a half, or suspended for an hour and a half. Players came out. Shortly thereafter, Canada was able to score the goal. Christine Sinclair that tied it.
An interesting quote from Pia Sundhage that I've seen. She said, if you can contain Christine Sinclair and let the rest of the team try to make the difference, that's what will help the U.S. be successful. So now we know that you cannot lose track of Christine Sinclair like they did, even if you have possession of the ball. As a defender, I remember, you know, listening to coaches who are doing coaching school talk about, okay, even though your team is on attack, defense, you always have to have good shape and good recognition of where the forwards are around you in case there is a turnover, what's going to happen.
In hindsight, looking at this, did this delay help Canada? Did the USA have some momentum going in and a lead and some comfort, or no?
I do believe that the U.S. did have momentum. I felt they were playing very well, and they had good possession of the ball, and they were actually feeling pretty confident. So at this point, I said before I thought that it didn't hurt the U.S., but maybe it gave Canada a chance to regroup and kind of get their bearings about them.
Down that right flank, that ball died there. Picked up now by Zurrer. She gave it back to the U.S. Lloyd into the middle for Boxx. Shannon Boxx, by the way, this is her 100th international appearance for the United States. One game after Christy Rampone played in her 200th. So some milestones hit by those players. Speaking of hit, yeah. Matheson gets called.
Yes, but great job by Lloyd Chalupny, because she put her body between the ball and the defender. The defender has a choice, either foul or let you go, and both scenarios are good for the attacking team.
Lloyd had the game-winning goal against Japan. She can score from distance. This is pretty far out in the 40th minute. About 35 yards out or so, and that'll hurt. U.S. will keep it. Mitz, it was Sophie Schmidt that blocked that shot. O'Reilly into a crowded middle, that's knocked away.
You know, we've been talking about how physical it's going to be, you know, what this matchup means, you know, having, you know, your border neighbors, you play a lot. You know, I spoke with Abby Wambach just a couple days ago about how she felt this matchup would go. She also said it's going to be a dogfight. Against Canada, it always is. It's going to be physical. So she said no surprises. The team, she actually knows the team is in a really good place. She said the words she needed to say to them before the tournament took place, and she hasn't talked to them during the tournament. But she's very confident that they're going to move forward.
USA's unbeaten streak versus Canada is 17 games. They played 43 times. Canada has only won 3, but as Brandy said earlier, you can throw all of those stats away. This is really just a one-game playoff, if you will. Winner goes on, loser will be headed for home. Hucles looks for Rodriguez against Franko. That was a great job on that tackle.
That was good timing. One step further, maybe too late.
Off that throw-in, too far for Matheson.
Good little touch by Chalupny. Little lift ball over the foot. I love it. Those are the kind of things that make great players. You know, the player that has the confidence to know that I'm just dribbling normally and all of a sudden I have to lift the ball over. Just great awareness. She's been a really wonderful personality for the U.S. this year. I think she's given them a lot of confidence to play more savvy, fun soccer. Just a little touch
Pia,
like that.
Right?
I'm talking about Lori
Chalupny.
Yes, she just gives a nice sense of confidence, and you know, go ahead and try those little things on the ball.
Sophie Schmidt looking for Lang off that collision. Mitz stayed with it. Mitz following Lang on the opposite side of the field.
Well, she had no choice in that scenario. All the backs had shifted over, so as the wide player, that's your job really. You're the last line of cover.
Sent in toward the box, chested down by Tancredi, then it's blocked by Rampone. Angela Hucles with it, lays it off. O'Reilly. 42nd minute, a 1-1 game. USA versus Canada. US played Canada more times than any other country. This is their 44th time. Blocked there, Matheson, quick counter. Oh, Tancredi was headed for an open space. If that ball is farther, she may be in.
Good job by Christy Rampone, just to be on that edge of that line where she's luring the player to play it over the top, knowing that she's in the right position to get it. That's a very nice positioning by her.
Rustad played it back. Now the knock upfield off Tancredi, and downfield it goes.
Here we are. The last 5 minutes, JP, of the half are critical, dangerous. We saw it in the other game, Brazil-Norway. You want to be solid at this time. You want to go into the locker room having played the last 5 minutes the way you want. Keeping possession, moving the ball. If you can nip one, you nip one, because you want to deflate the other team, the opponent's confidence.
Franko tried to go up the wing. That's knocked out. We remind you that due to the lightning delay in this game, USA-Canada, the USA women's basketball game versus Spain, will be seen in its entirety at the conclusion of this game on the USA Network. 44th minute. Canada and the USA are even. Goals by Hucles for the US, Sinclair for Canada. Wilkinson from the University of Tennessee. That's where she attended school. She'll get it back, sending it up long for Tancredi. She missed it, but Lang will get to this ball. Kara Lang looking to turn. Good job by Mitz, one-on-one.
Kara Lang is not known for as a 1v1 player, so I'm not surprised that she loses the ball in that situation to a quicker player in Heather Mitz. She's much more of a, the ball's out in front, she's going to run onto it, either have a shot or a cross.
Played through, and that's too long. Coming up at halftime, Matt Vasgersian will be joined by Brandy Chastain and Christine Lilly in our USA Network Olympic studio. So keep it here. We'll analyze this first half of play, which is right now even.
I wanted to say earlier, you pointed out number 7 Wilkinson is playing at University of Tennessee, where the head coach, Ange Kelly, also played for the Canadian national team. So it's a nice Canadian connection there.
Time running out. First half of play. Angela Hucles pulling it back. Finding Shannon Boxx. Heather Mitz stepping up at the end of the half. Now pushing it forward to O'Reilly. And it just went off her foot out of play.
Right now, all you should be worrying about as the U.S. team is just making those connections. Really, it's not about finding that thread through right now. It's literally moving up as a team, keeping possession, keeping Canada away from the ball and away from you. Because once you move the ball, they can't catch it. It's just too fast.
2 minutes of stoppage time put on here. And that was more likely for the injury to Erin McLeod earlier. Replaced by Karina LeBlanc because of that injury. We had about an hour and a half of a lightning delay that suspended this game. They restarted it, and Canada, about 8 or 9 minutes into it, scored the tying goal.
Likewise, JP, you don't want to continue to make negative passes. If it's getting too tight, play it down the field into the corners.
Rodriguez wide, leads it, and that's too far. Karina LeBlanc will just hang on to it. And now takes the look upfield. Well over the halfway line. Carly Lloyd back with it. Right side for O'Reilly. That could have been a dangerous pass back. Rampone sends it ahead to Boxx. Mitz got it away from the reach of Tancredi. About a half minute or so to go here in stoppage time. Too far for O'Reilly. Canada will have a throw in.
U.S. is possessing the ball well, possessing the ball in around the Canadian half, which is good. But there's no reason to play a ball that, you know, you're not quite sure of. Turn around, play it back, maybe even all the way back to Hope Solo. Be safe. Right now it's all about just keeping the possession, keeping Canada stretched.
Off the foot of Wilkinson, that's it. Last kick of the ball. The score at the end of the first half, USA 1, Canada 1. When we return, we'll go back to our USA Olympic studios. Matt Vasgersian is standing by.
Today's game.
Today's women's Olympic quarterfinal match between the USA and Canada comes to you from Shanghai Stadium. We are broadcasting this one from our NBC Olympic studios in New York City, far from the lightning strikes, etc., that suspended this game. So taking a quick check, looks like same players coming out for these two sides.
One more quote I want to give you that Abby Wambach shared with me. She says, this game is not about skill.
Go ahead. That's all right.
Not about skill, tactics. It's about heart. Every game now is how much you're willing to sacrifice and give.
Canadians just made an interesting switch. Brittany Timko is really more of a midfielder. Tancredi more of a forward, depending, of course, on if Canada's in a 4-4-2 or 4-3-3. But Timko now comes on, and Tancredi, her day is done. She did have a bit of an injury, although she played the last game, so you wonder if any of that was factored in.
I think it's unusual to start the half with a sub.
Yeah.
At least let her go 5 or 10 minutes.
And especially since you already made the one sub, right?
Exactly. Because maybe, as it turned out, maybe something she was feeling at halftime doesn't actually then continue to exist as the half goes along.
Second half underway officially now in the white. The USA, Canada in red. All to play for here, with the winner going on and the loser ending their Olympics early. For the U.S., that would be an upset because they were certainly expecting to go farther in this tournament than Canada. You may see more of the physical play this half.
I think you can count on that.
Christy Rampone has it. Chased by Lang. You wonder what that goal did for Canada. It certainly gave them some momentum going into the locker room at halftime. Given away there towards Tarpley.
Absolutely gave them momentum, of course. I mean, you're down 1-0. You go into a big delay. You know, you're sitting there contemplating the rest of your Olympic career. What are the ways you can get back into it? And then they score. So for them, it was a wonderful momentum switch and a boost psychologically. But now here's where the game gets harder, because it's tied, and now every bit of movement is just an extra energy expended. Can you last not only, you know, this 90 minutes, you have to be somewhat fresh at the end of it, because if it doesn't change, you're going into extra time.
Yep. An automatic 30 minutes.
And that's why the substitution for me is very surprising.
Pia Sundhage rallying her team. She rallied them from a 2-0 loss in game one to get them to this stage, playing with some confidence. Right now that confidence took a bit of a hit with a Canadian goal that tied it. Let's see who can establish some momentum here, because a halftime whistle, you have that momentum going in the locker room at halftime, but now let's see the first 5, first 10, first 15. Right. Who gets the chances? And how hard will it be to perhaps get those chances?
Well, what I've seen here, Canada's now looks like in a 4-5-1. And I wonder if they're just trying to look to spring Lang at any point just to run in behind. And having said that, now we have to see the backs for the U.S. take more control of the game, keep possession. They almost become the playmakers because of where they'll be setting up with the ball.
Heather O'Reilly on that right flank. Looking to get free and cross it. Deflected out. Just the second corner for the U.S.
Heather O'Reilly does a great job of using a hesitation and then exploding towards the end line to attempt to get that cross off. But for me, it's disappointing for Canada, because you know she's going to go end line. So why are you giving it to her? It's over and over and over. It's like they haven't learned from their mistakes. This could be costly.
Hucles striking that corner up high, knotted down, and there was a push inside. Goes against the United States.
Still got a good rain there, JP.
Yeah, I see it's picking up even more. As you see the second half going forward, one player for each side, assuming they stay, and who are the key players to watch?
You know, I still think Amy Rodriguez for the U.S. because she holds the ball well up front. But again, I have to focus on the back four for the U.S. They're going to have a lot of the ball. They're going to have to make good decisions on when to play the ball long, when to play it short. this midfield for the U.S. has not been a traditional midfield, playmaking midfield. It's more about defense and about having long shots and diagonal balls. So the backs actually will be becoming playmakers. So we'll see how they do in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Lloyd pushed that up, but not far. Franko has it.
And if it doesn't go well for the U.S., that's when you may see a change.
Timko's pass, trying to spring Lang. Deflected by Markgraf. Oh,
a little miscommunication
Franko
there.
and Boxx just collided big time. Canada keeps the ball. The Rustad pass. Sinclair, we've seen what she can do already from distance. Good job by Lloyd defending her. Back the other way. Chapman got there before Rodriguez could cause any harm. And now LeBlanc clears.
We're starting to see a little bit more of the type of dogfight Abby was mentioned to me a couple nights ago on our talk. You know, it's going to be a battle all the way to the end. You see this over underneath my right eyebrow? That's 12 stitches in a game against Canada.
I don't have time to look right now, but I'm going to check it out. As that ball is cleared out, where is it again? I mean, nobody can see us looking. Wow.
Just underneath my eye.
And what was that from? From
the back, a header from a Canadian player in Columbus, Ohio. 12 stitches in the locker room. This little bridge of my nose, broken 2 stitches. Charmaine Hooper, thank you very much.
We should have a camera in here so everybody can see this.
But it just tells you, you know, it's.
She was some player too, Charmaine, for Canada for years.
Fabulous player. Very, very
tough
talented.
to play against, I would imagine.
Incredibly hard to play against.
Shannon Boxx will send this the other way. Tarpley keeping it. Looked for the help. Finds it now on the outside. That's Chalupny.
Nice movement by Lindsay Tarpley. I'd like to see her go around the outside of Chalupny instead of running in through where the passing channels could be. But at least the movement gets Canada to move and be unbalanced. It's much better instead of being static and just playing into the obvious channels.
Lloyd cutting to her right foot. Can't get a shot off. Clear it up the middle. Lang goes down. Play continues. Shannon Boxx. Broken up by Schmidt. Then it's off Chalupny. 52nd minute.
This is the danger zone right here when Christine Sinclair gets the ball at her feet, running forward with no pressure. Very, very dangerous.
Sinclair, the shot that's blocked. We are going to be joined soon by Christine Lilly, your former teammate. This one blocked as well, and a foul is going to be called. The rains continue. They're expecting more of it. As long as we get no lightning, we're happy.
That's true. We're tough. The rain.
I mean, we're safe
as
here.
As players, the rain is not really that bothersome.
Yeah.
You know, it does change the consistency of the field, but this field looks to be in fairly good shape, unlike a couple of other stadiums we've seen earlier in the tournament.
Yeah. We're safe here, but it's player safety. If that lightning comes back, they will send them to the locker room again.
Yeah, no need to take any unnecessary risks in that way.
Shannon Boxx with it. This one goes long. We have Christine Lilly with us, a veteran of a couple of World Cup wins, a couple of Olympic gold medals. Your thoughts on the way this game has gone so far?
Well, I think it's been a little bit back and. Well, I think it's been a little bit back and forth. I think the U.S. still has to be a little bit more patient. You know, we got plenty of time to get a goal, but now the rain's coming back. I just noticed.
You know, you're allowed to say we. Brandy,
Brandy
can't say that because you're still, you're still playing, right? I mean, pregnancy took you off this team. Is this hard for you to watch?
It's not, because I have a nice little baby girl.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been exciting to actually see the girls play. And they're putting some nice things together, especially in the first 20 minutes. And now I think they're trying to find their rhythm back right now.
We didn't realize, I'm sure you did, this is the first major tournament they've played without you. Has you given that any thought?
Not really.
See? But we were surprised at that first one because you were there in '91 and every other tournament since then.
Yeah.
And I assume you're going to go back.
And yet she's only 25.
Well, thank you, Brandy. I appreciate that.
And I assume you want to come back and play.
I do. I would love to have another opportunity to come back out on the field, put on the jersey, because it's such a great honor. And I think Brandy understands as well, just to play for this team and what it's not only done for me personally, but just for so many young girls, out there to see these women play. I really would love to get another chance out there.
how much of that decision is also influenced by Pia's presence, since you played for her in the WSA?
Right. Well, I think that, and also, you know, where she's going with the team. You know, who knows? I don't know if I can make another World Cup. So if their goal is to, you know, start preparing a team for that, then, you know, I don't know if that's where I'm going to fit.
Stay with us. This is Boxx. Keeping Christine here with us. As Boxx shot from distance is blocked. There's another one, and that's up high. Who would have thought that today Angela Hucles would have the most scoring chances than anybody else on the field for either team?
Well, it's nice to see them taking in some chances right now, especially now, you know, they're got Canada on their heels right now. Keep going at them.
As you were watching this team, Christine, make progress, I mean, it had to be tough. You're not playing. Kat Whitehill gets hurt. Leslie Osborne gets hurt. Then Abby Wambach gets hurt. Like, what are your thoughts as you see all this bad stuff happening?
You just hope that they keep knowing as a team they're stronger together as a unit, and you know, all those are unfortunate circumstances, but you know, one player is not everything. So as a group, they got to come together and they got to do this thing together, and that's what we've learned through the years.
Let's talk Canada. You guys have owned Canada over the years, but some of these games have been very tight like this one. What's been the big difference in Canada?
Well, I think, you know, Canada, obviously you can see this setting up right here.
Timko has it. We'll pick that back up in a moment. Sinclair, a little bit of confusion there. Counterattack US. Trying to use the speed of Rodriguez. Canada had 3 players already back. That was a nice move to the outside. Now she's looking for some help. She'll cross that one early, and it's going to be swept away. We'll go back to your thoughts on Canada.
Yeah. Well, I think they've gotten some better soccer players, and I think they're playing a more technical game than they have before. They're still a physical team, and I think they still battle. And I mean, Evan coming over and bringing what he brought to Norway for so many years. Maybe not a system that people find attractive, but they do it well. I still think Norway did it the best, but Canada's played well in the system that he wants to run with this team.
Evan Pellereau, the coach, this could be his last game if Canada loses. Obviously, they like to extend this run and go far into the Olympics. First time they've been in the Olympics. This is Chalupny with a cut. Trying to pass that ball across. Still fighting hard for it. And that's one of the things you talked about, the fight and also the backs going forward, Brandy.
Absolutely. Pia said it before. Here's the battle. I love this about Lori Chalupny too. She's a skillful, really savvy on the ball, but she's not afraid to mix it up either. This is a scenario I think that can be very dangerous for Canada, especially the amount of water that's coming down right now. The goalkeeper hasn't had a shot at her in who knows how many minutes. You know, it's hard to be on top of things when you've kind of been in a lull.
On this free kick with USA chance in the background, Lloyd. This hit it, that went wide.
That's Carly Lloyd's favorite thing. I think just get a short pass and be able to wind up with the right foot. Sometimes it's not the perfect choice, though. I like to see that as that ball's coming, she's looking for other options, because right now what you see is what you get. It's too obvious. There has to be some sort of deception on the ball that gets Canada to think you're going to do one thing and then you do the complete opposite.
Hucles on the ball. Boxx on the turn. 58th minute. USA 1, Canada 1 in the knockout round. Winner goes on to play the winner of China and Japan. Held up there. Boxx off the left foot. Tarpley open. Tough ball to bring down. She'll play it in. And off Rodriguez, who says it was deflected. So that's a corner.
That's a lovely ball by Shannon Boxx. She has the composure to cut the ball against the grain and the momentum of the defender, and she sees the wide open Lindsay Tarpley on the back post. I probably would have, if I was talking to her, yelled out, head it, you know, head it back across the goal like Heather O'Reilly did when Angela Hucles scored the first goal.
Corner for Tarpley. Third one for the U.S. Driven to the middle. A couple players had a chance at that. In red for Canada. Hucles sending it back inside. And that goes just wide.
But what I love about Lindsay Tarpley, too, is she's not afraid to settle the ball in tight spaces. You know, sometimes it's not the perfect choice, but I do like the confidence that she does have on the ball.
As we say goodbye to Christine Lilly, just a final thought on what we can expect the rest of the way here.
Yeah, some great soccer. I think what you've seen so far in the Olympics has been exciting, and I think the U.S. are moving in the right direction. You know, they started off a little slow, and now they've been picking up each game, and now I think, especially with some of the opportunities they've been having right now, I think the momentum is changing their way a little bit.
Is there anything that you see in terms of substitutions or something that you'd like to see differently? Maybe somebody off the bench?
Well, I think someone coming off the bench to add a little spice. You know, Natasha Kai getting up there, maybe an Ali Wagner in there to add some, spray some balls in. But I think she'll probably make a sub within the next, I would say, 10 minutes or so.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in the postgame with Matt Beskersion.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the new addition to your family.
Thanks so much.
Chrissy Lilly from Wilton, Connecticut, joining us. 1-1 here, along with Brandy Chastain. I'm JP Dellacamera. Heavy rains throughout this game, thunder and lightning that set this game back. Players went to the locker room for about an hour and a half. It was 1-0 at the time. USA was leading. Then Christine Sinclair scored about 9 or 10 minutes after the teams came back out after the delay, and it's 1-1. That's where it stands.
And now we're in we're like in a cooling off period here. Now we're jousting with each other. We're shadow boxing. Ow, that hurts. Trying to feel each other out. The toughest thing for the U.S. is going to be right here not to get frustrated by that type of play by Canada, because they're going to continue that. That's their style. That's their stamp. That's the way they like to impose the game on their opponent. The mental side of the game is the most critical right now for the U.S. Not to be frustrated.
As the pressure mounts, one mistake and you could go home at this point in the knockout. Tarpley. That's blocked out. Throw in for the United States.
Great job by Shannon Boxx to not only make a good, decent turn with the ball under a little bit of pressure, but then she gets her head up and she takes an aggressive touch. She draws the defender and she plays an easy ball out to Lindsay Tarpley, who has an opportunity to cross the ball. It was very nicely played by Shannon Boxx.
Chalupny with that throw in short. O'Reilly. Off a touch of Boxx. A lot of tough first touches today, and some of that could be because of the rain and the ball. Some of it can be nerves.
I think it's a combination. It's just a combination. You know, sometimes the balls aren't quite as user-friendly as they could be.
Hucles, can she cross this one back? She tried to, was blocked out. Corner kick. Fourth one for the United States.
So the U.S. has had 4 corner kicks. I'd like to see Ange Hucles put this at the far post.
That's straight up into the middle. Lloyd couldn't get to that. Boxx got it back towards goal, cleared away. Markgraf sitting back for Chalupny.
Thought we were going to have a little Christian bicycle kick from Shannon Boxx.
Rodriguez blocked.
Great job by Amy Rodriguez, never giving up on the play.
Wanted back.
Outstanding.
Boxx all the way across. Hucles is down. She almost ran into O'Reilly. Hucles is still down.
She was doing a little Christian there. I think she was looking for an overhead kick. That was one thing actually Abby Wambach shared with me. I'll get back to that as soon as we get through this play.
Hucles is back up though. Now it's out for a throw-in.
Where Abby said, you know, even though Brazil's a great rival, and this is a great ball by Shannon Boxx, far post, just a little bit of communication. You know, maybe Heather O'Reilly tells Angela she's coming.
Back in the action, Hucles try to stay with it. It's going to be a goal kick.
Abby said, even though Brazil is one of our greatest rivals and we really don't get along that well, when she saw Christian's goal, it made her feel proud, she said, to be a women's soccer player, because it was a risk. She committed herself to it and she did it. It was beautiful, and in that moment she was cheering for her because that's good for the game. I thought that was a really nice statement by Abby, because it's true. The more you see that in the women's game, the more it becomes the norm, and the more that the players are taking these risks and taking these nice touches, and it changes the game.
Yeah, USA fans weren't thrilled with Marta in the last World Cup. But remember that brilliant goal that she scored? It was the goal of the tournament by far.
Absolutely.
I mean, and it just showed the skill level of some of these players that we saw at the World Cup and that we're seeing in these Olympics.
I think what it shows is that even under pressure, even in a big tournament, you still have to do those fun little things. You can't get away from them and be robotic. You can't be mechanical. You have to kind of get outside of your comfort zone at times to do the things that are so fun in the game. That's what draws people to watch. That's what's entertaining. That's what makes the game so much fun to play. But right now, they have to be mentally focused. I think right now for the back four, they have to talk to their midfield. They have to organize them on first and second touches. They have to be patient. Don't dive in. Stick together.
Long distance shot.
And if they want to take a shot from there, from that far,
that's okay.
All day.
Yeah.
I hope Solo's good enough to get the ball from 40 yards. You don't want to let Christine Sinclair run up onto it from 40 yards because you just never know. Nice 1-2 there by Angela Hucles and Lindsay Tarpley.
Rodriguez looks for it. Franko lost it. Rodriguez found it. And now it goes out. Deflected out. Corner kick number 5 for the U.S.
If you notice right now, the legs are getting a little heavy by the backs of Canada. And that, I think, with Amy Rodriguez's ability to burst into space, cut the ball, it's going to be very dangerous.
Hucles on the corner. Drives it back post area. The header by Boxx.
That's exactly the type of ball the U.S. will score on. Shannon Boxx is brilliant at running through a crowd and rising to the ball and heading it. Just a little bit off target in this situation, but clearly catches the defense for Canada by surprise. Nobody bodies her. I mean, she's one of the best headers in the world in this situation, and nobody has impeded her. These are the details that I've been talking about, JP, all tournament long. Young players out there, coaches, start thinking about the details.
Shannon Boxx holding this in a 1-1 match. Winner goes on to the semifinals. The loser goes home. Chalupny looks for that. Cleared away. I mentioned the heavy legs. I mean, in a physical game, yes. Heavy rains adding to it. Tougher to run out there, but also that 1.5 hour of sitting in the locker room. This is a long day for them.
Absolutely, and it's not going to get any shorter.
No, it could get even longer and longer if it goes to extra time.
And that's why I was talking about the focus, because when your body starts to get tired, your brain has to be the one that tells it what to do. And so if you can start managing when you make runs, the decisions that you make, short passes versus long passes, possessing the ball instead of turning it over, those things can help you have stamina through a 90-minute game with that rain delay.
Chapman ready to put this one back into play. 25-year-old defender gave that one back to the U.S.
I always tell kids, you know, the more you become proficient in passing the ball, the better, because the ball will never be tired. That thing will run all day. So once you have control and really you dominate the ball, you can do whatever you want. And that's what the U.S. is doing right now. They're going to try to run Canada into the ground a bit.
Christy Rampone on it. Point Pleasant, New Jersey. Lets the ball go back to Markgraf.
We haven't seen much of Heather Mitts on the right in the right back into the midfield lately. I think it would be really good for them to get over onto that side. Heather O'Reilly down that right midfield, some combination play.
68th minute now. A 1-1 game. If it's still tied after 90, 30 minutes of overtime or extra time. Still tied on to penalty kicks. Chalupny slotted it through. Rodriguez couldn't turn. Sent the other way. Canada in red. Sinclair tapping it forward. The speed of Matheson. Mitts blocked it, but right back to Sinclair. That's blocked as well. Another block. Sinclair off Markgraf.
That's so dangerous. And that all started from a counter off of, you know, a missed opportunity or a missed combination at the top of Canada's own box. So you saw Lori Chalupny busting her tail to get back to defend. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy at this stage of a game to get up and down the field, and that's why I'm saying it needs to go to the right side a little bit more, because the left side has been worked for the last 10 to 15 minutes.
Mitts leaves it for O'Reilly. Hucles is able to turn. That's a good play. In for Rodriguez on the turn. Leads Tarpley. Right back. Could have been one pass too many.
3 great touches, 3, you know, I don't mind that ball. It doesn't fall exactly where it should, but at least it's getting Canada unbalanced. It's gaining the U.S. some composure and confidence by small little touches.
Matheson. It's stopped there by Rampone. Boxx
There
with that
you
pass.
go, exactly.
O'Reilly, down she goes.
And that's what happens as the game goes on and you start owning that ball and moving that ball.
The yellow card is going to be issued.
And the legs
First
are getting heavy. There's no choice but for the defender. They're committing themselves.
Franko gets called for the foul and gets the yellow card.
It's a good play by Heather O'Reilly. Recognize that the defender's coming as she has the ball under control. The exact wrong time for the defender to be running themselves.
From the free kick inside, that's headed away. That was Sinclair, the captain, who won that one defensively. Chalupny right back in. LeBlanc came out late, got 2 fists on it, but it goes wide. She couldn't catch it.
That's a great play by Karina LeBlanc. It's very scary as a coach. You're probably sitting on the sideline going, oh gosh, please get it. But what she did do is she committed herself 2 fists through the ball and her player and the U.S. player. At that point, I've been punched in the back of the head many times by a goalkeeper. You know, when you have a scenario like that, you have to commit yourself full, and that's what she did.
Got to make a quick decision too. Wet ball, if you can catch it, but if you can't.
There's no catching going on at this stage. To be honest with you, I think it would be a huge mistake if a goalkeeper tries to catch a ball in the air like that. It's just too dangerous.
Off the chest of Hucles. She gets into the box again. Hucles saved LeBlanc. They're teammates with the Boston Breakers, their opponents today.
And what set this up, we don't get to see it, is an amazing outside of the right foot ball by Amy Rodriguez to Angela Hucles, who takes the ball down with her chest out in front of her and beats all 4 backs from Canada. Outstanding.
Hucles continues to have the best chances for the U.S. all game long.
She does, but at some point that starts to get to you. And not having as much practice as the other forwards maybe can get to her a little bit more. It's like you start to lose confidence the more chances you get and miss. Unlike traditional strikers, the more chances you get, the more they get hopeful because like it's coming again.
O'Reilly after this on the sideline. A slip there as Hucles went for it. Here's Franko. Halfway line, Canada possessing. 72nd minute. Markgraf steps up. And that's deflected out. Throw in for the U.S.
I like the urgency there by Lindsay Tarpley. The ball goes out. She's looking for the ball. She wants to get it in. We haven't seen much of that this tournament where there's a foul and the ball's been put down right away and put into play. I like the fact that she's like, come on, let's keep this rhythm going. We've just had a chance. We want to have another chance.
U.S. got it back.
Yeah, throw-ins have been a bit of an issue, I think.
Give and go.
Great play.
Too far.
Yeah, even though it doesn't come off, that's great play. That will loosen Canada up. Instead of making a pass, you cut the ball, maybe have a shot. That's very nice by the U.S. at the top of Canadians, at the top of the Canadians' box.
O'Reilly, nice couple of moves there. She gets closer to goal. She tried to let that one rip.
She had such good patience.
Wanted to keep going.
Yeah, just keep going. You know, look for maybe that extra pass, a slip pass through to Amy Rodriguez. Angela Hucles actually made a really nice run, bending wide. It forced the defense to kind of hesitate and have to make a decision. There doesn't always have to be a shot on the end of every run. And I think sometimes players feel that it does, or just like they feel it has to have a cross on the end of a run. It doesn't. Sometimes you just turn back and keep possession.
Tarpley lost it there, but there was Lloyd to pick it up. Away from Wilkinson. Lloyd continues her run. Tapped away. Schmidt for Canada. Knocked down.
Right now, Canada's in damage control mode.
Chalupny's pass now knocked in towards Hucles.
We always used to call this, you have to weather the storm. There's a big storm, not literally, figuratively. You weather the storm. And then once the calm starts, then you can kind of settle down again. And sometimes you gain confidence from weathering the storm. Like, wow, we really did a great job of handling all their pressure, and they still couldn't score. So you feel pretty good. I like that we just got a little brief view of Kate Markgraf giving instruction and some encouragement to her team. Like, come on, we can do this. Keep playing. I like that from her. And that's, that's something that maybe not having her in there, they lose that. Christy Rampone is not a very vocal leader, though she's a leader by example in terms of her work rate, and she doesn't give up. But sometimes you need somebody. In the past, for me, it was Julie Foudy, Carla Overbeck. Their voices could always be heard during the game.
You need the veterans to step up because you still have a lot of youth out there on the field. O'Reilly's 23, Tarpley, young player as well, Chalupny, Lloyd.
To be honest with you, JP, I'm not so sure it's a veteran. I just think it's somebody who's willing to stick their neck out there and say, let's go. I'm going to be an example, and I'm going to try to make things happen. And sometimes it's hard because you're tired and you're feeling the weight of the game on your shoulders. Your shoes are getting heavy from the water. The grass is slippery and passes are kind of going away from you. But you just need somebody to say, come on, we can do it. And all of a sudden you're like, yes, we can. All right, I believe that.
Score is 1-1. We're coming to you from our NBC Olympic studios in New York City, far from the bad weather conditions that these players have experienced today. Not just the heavy rain, but the thunder and lightning. The lightning forced the game to be suspended for approximately an hour and a half. USA was leading 1-0 at that point. The Canadians tied it. That's where we stand now. And if this game is tied after 90, it'll be 30 minutes for sure. No overtime goal scenario, no golden goal as they used to call it. You play the full 30 minutes, and then on the penalty kicks if still tied. Lloyd.
Good look by Carly. I like that. More patient. The players are looking for her to shoot. And sometimes if you get caught doing one thing too many times, then maybe you don't get the run that you deserve on the end of that pass. But you have to keep believing and making the runs no matter what. I mean, I can't tell you how many times you're going to make runs where you're never going to get the ball, but then there's going to be that one time that you do, and you have to be there and you have to be ready.
77th minute. Goals by Hucles for the U.S., Sinclair for Canada. For each their second goal of this tournament. Chalupny.
I think the difference.
Challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to get any easier as the game goes on. I think the difference in this game, when we'll see a goal, is when we see an extra special play by one player. Somebody who makes a dynamic run with the ball or without the ball to get open and put themselves into a scoring position.
Matheson looks, tries to lead that ball through. Solo comes off the line.
Something like that, where a player is going to commit themselves, even though they're exhausted and their brain is telling them no, and their legs are certainly yelling stop, to just stick with it and get through the play and like this.
Sinclair shot low, and there's Solo. And that's going to be tough, too, on good, hard, powerful shots to hold on to it so there's no rebound. In that case, anyway, nobody close for Canada.
That's a great dynamic run with the ball by Christine Sinclair, and it's an excellent save by Hope Solo.
One miss there. Up for grabs. Now it's Schmidt. 78th minute.
And that's hard for Hope because she hasn't seen a lot of the ball. You know, as a goalkeeper, the mental side of what you do is the most important, making good decisions.
Caroline knocked down by Lloyd. Play continues. Canada thought they were going to get a free kick there.
I may have thought they would get a free kick considering Carly just ran her over from behind.
Should have been. Here's Matheson. Canada gets it. Sinclair chips it. Not high enough. It's a big play by Rampone.
That is a great play by Christy Rampone and a little cheeky maneuver by Christine Sinclair.
You know, she's getting a lot more of the ball now, though, Sinclair.
Right.
Than she was before. One of her few touches resulted in a goal. As you said, she doesn't have to have many to be effective, but now either she's finding the ball or the ball is finding her.
Well, she's a big target. She is their most technical and savvy player on the field. And she's got good presence. This is interesting. This referee's let a few things go that
on both sides
that I would have suspected would have been called fouls in other games. But then you have to know that if that's been the consistent play of the referee, then you can't be surprised. I think it's better to have this type of referee than a one that's blowing the whistle constantly.
Keep the rhythm of the game.
Yeah, it lets the players play the game.
Throw in US, 80th minute.
Oh, now she calls me.
Well, you knew that was going to happen after you said that.
Of course.
The pressure builds, too. The drama builds, I mean, for us as broadcasters, for fans watching, but especially for players.
This is a good effort by Christine Sinclair. She doesn't quite get through the middle of the ball like she did with her right foot on the goal she scored. That's a difficult ball because you have to be willing almost to fall down as you strike the ball, as you're falling off to the left side. You have to really commit yourself to it. It takes a lot of balance and body control. And she still managed a decent shot.
80th minute, are you surprised no subs for the U.S.?
To be honest with you, I think I'm a little surprised. You have 3. I'm not so sure why you wouldn't now. Oh, here we go.
There you go. Well, you're seeing what we're seeing, so we didn't see anybody up on the sideline. Tobin Heath is going to be the first one to come in. We'll get to that in a minute or two, see who she's going to come in for, as Chapman sends this free kick up. Sinclair heads that forward, not it down. Canada getting it back.
If I'd have to guess, I'd say this is a Lindsay Tarpley situation.
Wilkinson had it blocked. She forced it right back inside. Coming back the other way. Canada getting it back. This looks almost the way you described it before when you said Canada weathering the storm, and sometimes you feel more confident after you've done that. All of a sudden, you're getting more of the ball, more offense.
Absolutely, but then you have to be careful of this right here. A player breaking out with good speed. Heather O'Reilly, if there's one thing anybody could ever say about Heather O'Reilly, she will not quit. She will keep fighting, and she's got great pace. As soon as when she starts getting going, it's hard to knock her off the ball and to stop her, really.
Rampone for Boxx, and then back to Christy Rampone. Captain will push it forward. That's knocked away by Canada. They've got it. Timko leads it for Sinclair. If that ball is closer to her, she can pick that up in stride and then look out.
Yeah, that's a dangerous situation, made a turnover by a bad pass.
And it is Lindsay Tarpley who is coming out for Tobin Heath. So you talk about pressure building. Tarpley is out, and a young player like Tobin Heath comes on.
She's giving some kind of instruction about making a switch and doing something.
We'll check it out. Tobin Heath, a junior this fall at the University of North Carolina.
I see. They put Carly Lloyd up front looking for a goal, maybe play it into her early. Angela Hucles' natural position is a center midfielder. That's where she played in college. That's where I experienced her as a teammate with the national team. That's where I saw her with the Boston Breakers. This may be actually a better position for her because she is such a great passer of the ball and has good vision.
Matheson coming back, and this time the foul goes against Canada. Free kick, United States, 83rd minute.
We're getting close to that 5-minute period that we've been talking about. Shannon Boxx being aggressive here with a dribble. It's a great job by her because, again, the defender has to choose.
USA on the ball with Chalupny. Puts that one up. LeBlanc is there, punched it away, right back to the U.S. U.S. getting it back on the turn, and it was whistled down. That's what I'm wondering if she could have caught. That was tough.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I don't ever know, even in good conditions, let alone a downpour, a deluge of rain, catching the ball into traffic is ever a good idea.
But it would have beat this. We picked that up late with the world feed.
But that's a good catch by the assistant referee. Carly Lloyd was sitting behind 2 defenders in an offside position.
Tobin Heath picking it back up. Just her 17th international appearance. That's a foul, a hard one. Carol Lang's going to get booked. So the Canadians have picked up 2 yellow cards. Lang and Franko.
Well, you might as well lay yourself on the line. I mean, if you don't give it all here, and that's just a reaching foul. It's a silly foul. She's going away from her. I'm not so sure I like that. But you're in the quarterfinals in the Olympics. You don't want to, after the game, say, gosh, I really should have played maybe a little bit more aggressive, because that's their style.
Markgraf played it short. Hucles back to Markgraf. On the left side, Chalupny.
I like this.
Heath
Okay.
trying to play it up. Picked off by Chapman. Taken right back. Oh, I thought that was a foul. Chapman will take off with it.
Those two players have played against each other in college. Notre Dame, North Carolina.
Wilkinson pressured by Chalupny off a block. Franko in some trouble.
Well,
Great hustle by Rodriguez. Chalupny, down she goes, right back up. Rodriguez keeps it. The cross, too high.
Canada's not doing themselves any favors. My husband, Jerry Smith, who coaches at Santa Clara University, always used to say, when it's tight, get it out. This is, I'm not sure if that's a shot or a cross, but you know, a shot cross sometimes,
either way,
yeah, lands at somebody's feet. He says even the best players in Brazil kick the ball out of bounds or long down the field. So, you know, don't think that you're too good to do that. Sometimes holding the ball is the most dangerous thing to do in your final third.
Canada looking to move it out. And all the way downfield it goes. We're in the 86th minute. The score stays tied after 90. 30 minutes of overtime or extra time, and then on to penalty kicks if still tied. Downfield, long run, O'Reilly keeping it in, floats it back for Lloyd. The shot is wide.
Great run by Heather O'Reilly to get on the end of this ball. It was really just, I think, a clearance. And like I said, she never stops. She continues to work up and down that flank. She's almost tireless, even though I'm sure inside she's feeling tired at this stage. But she will not stop.
Carol Lang looked like she couldn't get to that ball.
Yeah, no.
Heavier legs.
You're just waiting at this stage. This is the time when I remember playing in that '99 World Cup thinking every time the ball came near me or I had to do a defensive play thinking, make a simple play. Make a connection, be solid.
O'Reilly with defenders chasing off Rodriguez. Canada will push it up for Sinclair. Christine Sinclair waits. There's no help on that left side. Now the help is coming, but she made the smart play to play it back, keep possession.
That's
not as good.
That's a bad giveaway.
They had some momentum. 87th minute here, 1-1. Omari Sawa 1-0 over China. That was in the 15th minute. Winner of that game, China-Japan, takes on the winner of this one, Canada-US. Lang looking. Timko. Solo came out and got it. And Timko is still down. So that ball will be cleared out of play. Every shot, every save, now more critical.
Very critical. Great ball through. Good job. It would have been great a little bit earlier by Christy Rampone to get in the way of Timko and just slow her down. Hope Solo has to be very brave in that situation to go down at her feet. And Timko actually pays the price for that challenge. But you have to. Those are the prices that you're going to have to pay if you want to win an Olympic quarterfinal and make it to the semifinal, to the medal rounds.
Canada have made 2 substitutions. The USA has made 1. We are approaching an overtime scenario. 30 minutes of extra time. Automatic if this is still tied after 90. I used to like the golden goal myself.
I love the golden goal.
Added drama. I thought that's one thing FIFA finally did right. Then they took it away.
They finally got it right.
Yeah, they finally got it right. You want that drama.
No, I love that drama because you know what it does? It celebrates proactive play. Players that are going to be aggressive. This is good aggressive play. Again, I'd like to see Christy Rampone read that a little bit earlier and then slow down as to stop Timko's run. I think she took Hope's knee right to the back.
Former University of Nebraska midfielder.
I hope she's all right.
Plays in Vancouver, the W League. That's the coach, Evan Pellerud.
The wheels are spinning in the head. Can you see that?
He's thinking. They've got the one sub left, but she had just come on as a sub this half.
Right. You hate to have to sub the sub.
Yeah. And the concern is really for her and her well-being, not so much subs. For complete coverage of soccer and basketball, tune into the NBC Olympic specialty channels only in HD. Check your local listings for the time in your area. 1-1 here. So much drama, so much tension for fans too. I mean, they had to sit through. I mean, they headed for cover during the lightning, obviously, but it's a long day for them as well. Some of them are fans of the game. Some of them are family members watching, living and dying with every shot, just like the players are.
Absolutely. I'm happy to see Timko up and walking off the field on her own. That's a positive sign. You never want to see anybody.
Yep.
She doesn't look good in terms of the grimaces she has on her face, but at least she's walking off.
They will add some more time on here. And we'll see whether Timko comes back in or not. And the Canadians will give the ball back to the U.S., who played it out because of that injury, and a show of good sportsmanship. We always love to see that. Pushed up on that right side of the field by Mitz. Franko, oh, a bad touch. Rodriguez. And that's taken away.
She made up for it with that tackle, but that is the type of thing that I'm talking about, JP. At the end of the game, all you should concern yourself with is making solid connections, not giving anything away, especially in your final third. Just being safe.
The game may come down to one great play, one stroke of luck, one bad mistake, or a combination. Lang plays it back. Canada over the top for the dangerous Sinclair, chased by Markgraf. Sinclair tried to cut it back, denied. It's good solid defending by Markgraf, especially this late in the game.
Not only is it good solid defending by Markgraf, but the U.S. team did a great job of getting back there to help her. It was 3 versus 1. When you can deny a player like Christine Sinclair with one player, and then you can have 2 or 3 coming, you could see on her face, it's just like, oh gosh, you know, it's just too difficult. That's a great job by the U.S. back line.
Canada have a sub up, so we don't see Timko back out there. The world feed didn't show where she went, so we'll assume that 16 Filigno is going to come in for her as the last Canadian sub. She's just 17 years old. Foul was called on Heath. And that's the change. This is a 17-year-old Filigno coming in. She is from Rutgers, so just down the road from where we're broadcasting from.
Carly Lloyd's alma mater.
Yes. So Timko out. We hope that she's okay. Filigno comes in. Inside. The U.S. tries to move it out. Wilkinson, or make it Matheson on the turn. Coming in towards Sinclair. Swept away.
We've seen the U.S. bring in Tobin Heath, and yet I haven't seen her get the ball very much.
Speed of Rodriguez. LeBlanc had to win that ball. Good job for the Canadian keeper.
That snuck up on me like it did the Canadian defense, JP.
It did.
Sorry about that.
Speed of Rodriguez, you still have to respect, I guess, even at this stage of the game. Heavy legs and all.
Absolutely. Those quick, shifty, dynamic players, you know, they go for 5-10 yard bursts. So, you know, they're not the marathoners. They rest.
O'Reilly knocked away by Franko. Who wants that ball? Nobody's near it. Now finally the Canadians get it.
But what I was saying is that the U.S. made a sub.
Well, at the other end, Sinclair. There's Chalupny. That's well done. And then she knocked it away from her.
Smart. Good play.
Heath lost it there. Matheson blocked. They're going for every ball.
Absolutely.
Dying stages of the regulation portion of this match. Lloyd, maybe one last chance. Rodriguez off the fingertips of LeBlanc.
Great save, great attack, wonderful soccer at the end of this game. You know what I love? Is that both teams are going to try and finish the game in regulation, and that's exciting. Great ball by Carly Lloyd, bent behind the defense where only Amy Rodriguez really could get it. Karina LeBlanc had to come up big.
Might be the last kick of the game. Knotted down wide. On the 6th corner kick, that was the last kick of this 90-minute match. It is 1-1 after 90 minutes and a little stoppage time. We're coming back with overtime or extra time, another 30 minutes at least.
McDonald's new Southern-style chicken sandwich is a juicy, perfectly seasoned chicken breast with pickles on a buttery tasting bun. Its taste is simply perfect. But how would a boxing enthusiast describe it?
It's the winning combination of ingredients. The chicken definitely has sazón. When it comes to taste, es un verdadero knockout.
Come try it for yourself and see how you'd describe it.
Hurry into Toyota's National Clearance Event. Toyota is the most fuel-efficient full-line car company on the road today. And now's the perfect time to get amazing deals, like Camry, with an impressive 31 mpg highway rating. Or the 2009 Corolla, highway rated at 35 mpg. And while you're there, check out Yaris, with a 36 mpg highway rating. So hurry in and improve your MPG. The Toyota National Clearance Event is on now.
Well, Brandy, you've been in this position before.
I've been in many of those positions laying on the ground.
That too, yeah. But, I mean, what's going on in players' minds now, knowing that you have another 30 minutes for sure, maybe penalty kicks if nobody scores? What's the dialogue? What's this like?
Right now, it's just let's not get overexcited. We have to play 30 minutes, so let's have that in our head. So let's, again, try to keep the ball, try to stay calm. It looks like Natasha Kai actually had her yellow bib off there. We could see her coming into the game. This would be a huge break for the U.S. to get it. You know, this is what I was saying about Tobin Heath coming into the game. She's fresh legs, but no one's getting her the ball. This could be a scenario where the U.S. may actually want to play a little bit quicker, see if they can get something right away, and then they can settle in and hold the ball. But it's really about just maintaining possession, about sticking in the moment, gaining confidence by making connecting passes. Nobody has to get too stretched at or bent out of shape. And like I said, talking about the backs for Canada, their legs are heavy right now. They've done a lot of tackling, down on the ground, up, and they have to deal with the likes of Amy Rodriguez and now Natasha Kai. That's very difficult to do over more than 90 minutes.
You always wonder about subs. In this case, you can always second guess when subs come in, but Pia Sundhage kept a couple of cards in the pocket, and that might turn out, to help the U.S. putting on a fresh player like Kai coming in.
Well, I think at this stage, it definitely will help. This is funny. Christine Lilly called Natasha Kai the tsunami because she's wild, and sometimes you don't know what she's going to do. She's unpredictable and very powerful. So I think all those words describe her game, and it could be very beneficial at this stage when Canada is feeling a little bit tired.
See the numbers of the injured players on her headband. Kat Whitehill, who wore number 4, Abby Wambach, who wore number 20, Leslie Osborne, who wore number 12. And people that have been watching these games regularly know that, but for those just tuning in and just catching that, not sure what that's all about, that's a tribute to her injured teammates. That's
very nice. I think it's being a very nice teammate. Just going back to Natasha Kai, she's right now got a lot of energy. I just described all those qualities that she has, but you also have to kind of rein in that too. You can't be wild. You can't be chasing the ball over and making fouls and creating problems for your own team. So I think she's got to be able to. The team has to be able to kind of manage her as she enters this game.
As you saw it, Brandy, did anyone have an edge after 90?
I think the edge goes to the U.S. They've only now made 2 subs. They have one in their pocket. Canada's made a sub and then had to make another sub for the sub, so that's not good.
O'Reilly's number is up. She played well and she played hard, I thought, O'Reilly.
Natasha Kai, raise your arms after you do something. You haven't done anything yet. I like the enthusiasm, but you know, it's got a time and a place, really.
2 different colored shoes. The world feed recognized that. Probably, maybe as many tattoos as David Beckham, maybe not quite as many.
She's got a longer one, though, I think.
Yeah, it's got a different look than most of the athletes.
Yeah, that's all right.
In the women's game, yeah.
It's, you know, each player on the field is unique and special, and that's why when they come together at the right moment and they have that synergy, they do great things. Everybody has to bring something special, and Natasha Kai's special is being aggressive and being athletic and putting the other team under pressure.
All to play for the right to go on to the semifinal. Winner advances, loser goes home. 30 minutes. Extra time. If somebody scores here, the game does not end. Is that ball out? Yes, says the referee. Jenny Palmqvist.
These are the areas, JP, that both teams need to really be solid. Throw-ins, keeping possession if possible. You know, they take all that time, and then that's what they end up with. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Get over to the ball, get it in your hands quickly, play the ball as quickly as you can so that the ball is at the feet of your players or maybe a flick on. But don't wait and wait and wait, and then this is what you end up with. I mean, it's frustrating for you as an offense. You know, it deflates you mentally when the referee calls a foul.
Extra time first segment. This will be 15 minutes, and then we'll go into the second 15-minute segment of extra time. And then if it's still tied, penalty kicks to determine who goes on.
We saw at the break in between the regulation and the overtime, players getting massages, getting their legs shaked out. You know, that could become a factor, you know, cramping over this amount of time. You know, the players don't have the ability to take in a lot of calories at this point. They do have water to hydrate, but, you know, to have something to eat and refuel some of those things that you've lost is very difficult. So that could be also a factor coming into this overtime.
Canada in red, USA in white. Your goal scorers are Hucles and Sinclair. Canada's made 3 subs. USA have made a couple. 1 left. This is the young Filigno. Tackled away.
You have to credit Franko right there for making a really difficult commitment as a center back, taking on the midfield of the U.S. and then finding a way to play a nice wide ball to Filigno.
Schmidt puts that one up. Headed away by Markgraf to the opposite side.
It's very dangerous. Very dangerous. Any one of those balls could just not come off somebody's head right, could be flicked dangerously, could end up in the back of the net.
Amazing stamina from these athletes.
It is incredible.
Hard game, heavy rain, sitting for an hour and a half or so because of the lightning that suspended the match, and here they go into extra time or overtime for another 30 minutes for sure.
I'm sitting in the booth with you, and I'm feeling like I need to refuel my.
I'm seeing that. I'm getting hungry myself. Here's Sinclair looking to turn. Doubled up there with Markgraf and Rampone, the 2 veterans. But Canada will get it back. Wilkinson trying to spin around Heath. Nice cut to the inside. Wilkinson looking to cross it. They're going to say goal kick. Apparently last touched her.
It's good play on the sideline there, trying to be aggressive towards the goal. Again, I've said in the past, when a player on the ball is aggressive towards the defender, it forces the defender to make choices. And in that case, she beats Tobin Heath. And then the second defender came up, who I think was Chalupny. She does a good tackle, but you know, that causes a problem. They start to be dominoes. One player gets beat, then the next player comes maybe at the wrong time, and there's a wall pass scenario or a combination play. It's good. That's a good, hard play by Wilkinson.
Natasha Kai looks, sends it up. Rodriguez on the run. With that speed, trying to cut inside. Tackled out. Zurrer did well to get back there against the speedy Rodriguez.
She did absolutely well, because what you teach defenders is stand a player up, have patience. If you can make them touch it a few times, and then you can get defenders to help you. But in one-on-one situations, when you're getting into that critical zone, tackling is your last option, and that was, in fact, the case.
7th corner for the United States. Hucles to the middle, headed up once, still loose for Kai, and she put it up and over.
They didn't know the ball goes up in the air, and they're not quite sure where the ball is. I think Lloyd lost it as it went above her. She just couldn't get out of the way.
Yeah, that was not an easy ball for Kai to get to.
I think for both teams right now, anytime you have a free kick, a corner kick, you have to put the ball on the goalkeeper or close to the goalkeeper. Make her, like you said, decide, punch, catch, come for it, don't come for it. Just have a little bit of indecision can cause a big problem. Then it takes a great play. Like, for example, I keep going back to 1999. A lot of special things happen in that game. Like this one, it goes into overtime. Brian Escurry is actually beaten by a header, and Christine Lilly has to make an outstanding play on that far post. It's something like that that's going to happen in this game, but you have to commit to making other players make decisions.
It's a good point. It's your penalty kick, but go back, Christine Lilly. It's a 1-0 game for China at that point.
Absolutely. You have to be, every player has to be psychologically in the same mindset, and if they're not, that's when problems start.
Chalupny, far side of the field, taps it back. Kate Markgraf.
Good choice. Just keep it.
Mitts to the middle. Boxx using her strength. She goes down. Advantage call, USA. Tobin Heath. One of the late subs for the U.S. pushing it up for Kai. Trying to get some distance between her and the defense. And that one is sent up high and wide over LeBlanc by Amy Rodriguez.
I don't think that's Amy Rodriguez's strength. I think her strength is making darting runs, catching defenders off balance and getting in behind them, slipping some balls into the net. Although she did score a great opportunistic goal against Brazil, leading in, I think it was the second to last game leading up to the Olympics. I don't think that's her game, though, to be shooting balls like that from outside the box.
The rain continues. It intensifies at the stadium in Shanghai. They've been raving about the field, though. Still in good condition.
It looks beautiful.
Quick long shot that's low and wide of LeBlanc.
Let me just, I'm kind of beating this point to the ground, but it's really important that each player recognize again and understand what their role is. You have to know what your role is in this situation. To go outside of that role at times can cause problems that you might not foresee, like taking a shot when it's not advised. Now you have a counterattack against you, making an ill-advised pass in your back third, not clearing a ball with just blocking, instead of swinging wildly. These are the things that really, if you stay in your role, won't happen.
Hope Solo will roll it to the left. Chalupny for Boxx, number 7 in white for the U.S. Hucles and Sinclair are the goal scorers. So long ago, it seems like yesterday. Franko cutting this one off.
Great step forward by Chalupny. Great vision, great view of the field. She stepped up at the right time. And I like that she has the ball in her hands and she wants to get it in. Players have to commit to moving. This is another thing, JP. You're exhausted. It's like your legs are just not listening to your brain anymore, but you still have to work. Mia Hamm used to say all the time, what makes good players great? When they go out and they're training, it's muddy, it's wet, nobody's looking. You still have to act like a champion. You have to do all the little things right.
Sophie Schmidt will clear that one away, and she'll give possession back to the United States. Heath back for Boxx. All the way back for Mitts, number 2 for the U.S. for Rampone. That's too long. Matheson. Looking to turn, looking for room was Lang.
There's the whole center of the midfield was open. Yeah.
Wilkinson against Kai.
But sometimes when you're tired, you almost don't believe your eyes. You know, you don't trust yourself at times. Dangerous.
Lang coming back, lays it off. Sent up there by Rustad, wide of solo.
They do so much hard work to get up there. And it's, again, like I say, your brain and your body are just fighting each other right now to do the right thing.
These conditions are very interesting. Remember, it was heat and humidity they were all worried about before. Not the case today. And that can take its toll on you, obviously, as well.
Of course.
Like you guys in '99. Heavy and hot sun in California at the Rose Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
This is different.
I love some of the comments I got from people who were at the game. First of all, I tell them thanks for coming. Awesome having you there.
You thank all 90,000?
And they would say, well, no, when I meet them, you know, at random places, the library, the grocery store, wherever. And they're like, yeah, it was so hot. I'm like, you think?
Yeah. They were hot. How about you guys?
Yes. And they're like, and they ran out of water.
Amy Rodriguez, far side. 1-1 game. Sent inside the header and a goal. Natasha Kai. U.S. leads. Now she can celebrate, like you said.
That's what I'm talking about. I love that. What a great ball. Pass back. Shannon Boxx behind the defense, bending away from the goalkeeper. She has to decide, come or stay. She decides to stay. Natasha Kai slips right in behind the backs. And now you can do your dance. Now you can do your dance.
It is her first goal of these Olympics. It is her 21st international goal, and you could argue, at least at this point, her most important goal in a USA uniform. Time will tell if that will hold true. How does this change things now? They've gotten the lead. A lot of time left.
Canada has to chase the game now. But what the U.S. has to do is not take extra touches on the ball and not take risks. So if it's too tight, clear it down the field.
Heath. That one's blocked. All the way back. Here's Rampone. Hucles for Carly Lloyd. The U.S. could still make one more sub, too.
That's what I was just going to say. I personally would like to see Allie Wagner come into the game at this stage. She's great with possession. She knows how to put the right pace and the texture. Great dribble by Lori Chalupny. Beautiful.
Down she goes, trying to bounce back up. What an effort. Franko goes after it. That's blocked. Rodriguez got it back. Big shot. Save LeBlanc. Keeping Canada's hopes alive.
Absolutely. We have to remember, JP, and we'll remind the viewer as well, that Natasha Kai has a better strike rate than Abby Wambach. We talked about how many minutes this year, how many minutes it takes her to score a goal, and they're astounding. She's not played in as many games, but she has a wonderful goal per game ratio, a goal per minute ratio. It's fabulous. But back to Wagner, I'd love to see her come into the game at this stage because, again, she doesn't get frazzled by the pressure. There's going to be a lot of pressure in these last, moments of the game. You have to make good decisions on the ball. She can be physical if necessary, but really she has a great touch.
She might be the one, too. You look at their bench. They have Bueller, they have Cox, they have Cheney, and Wagner as available. Some of that on the bench is still inexperienced. So we may see Allie Wagner. We'll see how this one goes. We're in the first 15-minute overtime or extra time session. There's another one still to come.
Tobin Heath still looking for a first nutmeg of the tournament.
Hucles playing it back. USA has the lead. If they can get the win, they go on to the semifinal against the winner of China, Japan. Japan was leading that 1-0 last we checked on a goal by Homare Sawa, who's had a couple of big goals at least in this Olympic tournament, especially lately. Still is 1-0 there. That's at halftime. We thought we could watch that game in its entirety, but we can't because this game was suspended for an hour and a half plus. Here's Heath. Tackled away.
Now you have to get up and you have to chase back. That's the unfortunate part of being in an extra time, overtime situation. When you lose the ball, even though your body's saying, okay, just rest, you have to work back to get behind the ball.
Seconds left in this first 15-minute session. Rampone to the right. Mitz drives it long. Off Kai. And then Rodriguez.
It's good effort there by Natasha Kai on the flick, and then Amy Rodriguez getting in behind her.
That's it for the first 15. Another 15 at least still to go. Huge goal for Natasha Kai to give the United States a 2-1 lead. You're watching the USA Network, home of the U.S. Olympic team. U.S. leads 2-1. This game coming to you from Shanghai Stadium.
What a great ball this is by Shannon Boxx. Just the right touch with the inside of her left foot to the back post, where Natasha Kai commits to get behind the defense. And she doesn't have to do much with the ball. All she has to do is put her head on it, and the velocity and the speed behind the cross by Shannon Boxx guides it into the goal.
What changes now, Brandy? You know that there's 15 minutes left. This break obviously has to help in this kind of a situation with the fatigue and the heavy legs and all.
Well, actually, for the U.S. team, they're thinking, let's get it on. Come on, you know, let's not have any break because we're pressing Canada and they're feeling the heat right now. For Canada, you lose 2-1, you lose 3-1, it doesn't matter. You have to commit yourself to going forward. You're going to ask a lot of the back players to take in the pressure that's coming. They may even take a back away from the back line just to get another forward or another player forward. And you may even ask Karina LeBlanc, the goalkeeper, to play more up into the top of the box to cut off some balls that may go through so that the defense can press forward.
Here's Carly Lloyd. Kai makes the run, takes the shot. Didn't hit that the way she wanted.
But I think it's hard. It's easier for me to say and harder to do for the players to push forward, get into the attacking half, have a high restraining line, because you get exposed when you do that.
Tobin Heath will push it. Hucles. USA looking for some possession, because you know if Canada has the legs, they can go upfield. They can be dangerous with Sinclair and Lang.
And again, like we saw in the first, you know, or the half where Sinclair scored, she wasn't even in the play, and the next thing you know, she's shooting it on goal.
Rodriguez. The cut inside by Lloyd. Now that's cleared away by Canada. Franko up the left side. We're in the second overtime or extra time segment, ET2. Up there from the world feed. When that clock strikes 30, if the score is like this or with USA up, it'll be the end of the tournament for Canada. But there's still a lot of time left. This game could end up going to penalty kicks if it's equal at the end of 30 minutes.
If it finishes like this, everybody will say, Canada, great job. You've done the nation proud. You've gotten to the quarterfinals in your first Olympic Games. They will not feel good about that. You know, there is such a rivalry between the U.S. and Canada that it doesn't matter if it's on a Sunday pickup game or here at the Olympics, they still want a result. And the fact that as the years go by, the wins and losses are still favoring the U.S. does not sit well with these players. They're much more proud than that.
They've had some blowouts, but they've also had some close games. One game went to penalty kicks in April. USA also had just a close 1-0 win in June. Here's the throw-in.
The end just needs to be a clinical case of finishing a game off by the U.S. Again, keep possession, put Canada under pressure, even play some balls into their half. Tobin Heath trying to play a little around the world situation. Again, I think those moves are great, but not in your own defensive third. That's inexperience and immaturity right there. A good player. She's got great skill and she's got incredible vision on the field.
Rodriguez bringing it down. trying to spin, played it across.
The assistant referee had her flag up much before the play. But again, if I were on the field right now in Kate Markgraf's shoe, I'd be saying, Tobin, simple. Keep it simple.
Here's a switch with Lauren Cheney, who will make her Olympic debut. Remember, she's the one that replaced Abby Wambach. So Rodriguez comes out forward for a forward. So fresh legs, yes, but.
I'm not so sure about this. I'm not so sure about this, but then again, you know, it's hard to know what's been happening in training, how Lauren Cheney has been blossoming for this national team. Again, she wouldn't have been here if Abby had not been injured. So it's curious, this decision by me, especially, you know, you don't see this very often when a team is up, especially in overtime, where you would put on a more defensive possession type player as opposed to a forward, but perhaps the tactic is hold the ball in the attacking third.
Flag goes up. 20th minute of this 30-minute overtime or extra time segment. This is Kai getting called for the offside. Her goal is the difference. USA looking to advance to the semifinal against the winner of Japan versus China. It's interesting because the way things went on the last day of group play, a lot of people thought USA might have had to play Germany or Brazil or North Korea, who were eliminated. Instead, they got Canada, but it wasn't easy. Still isn't. Franko across.
Ah, shoot.
Gets away.
That's where your mind is saying something and your bodies just can't quite follow through. The U.S. has played a good game. I think they'll be very happy with this match if it finishes the way it is right now. They came out the aggressor. They scored a great goal early. They had many chances to make it 3 or 4-0 early in the match. They did let Canada back into the game a little bit after they weathered the storm, but you never saw the confidence go down.
Kai works to get it back, gets it back from Zurrer. Pushes that one up. The chase is on. It's tackled away. That's a hard challenge by Lauren Cheney, and she's going to get booked. So in her Olympic debut, she'll see yellow.
Well, you won't fault her for not being aggressive. And you know what that does actually to the backs of Canada? It gets them thinking, well, now I'm going to have to play a little bit faster, but my body doesn't want to. You know, I'm too tired. So that pressure actually is a good statement that Lauren Cheney made.
Good goal scorer collegiately. UCLA first 2 years, 42 goals in 44 games. Chapman.
And she's a big, strong, solid body too. I think that's perhaps that's another determining factor of why she was the sub at this stage.
Kai makes this run. LeBlanc retreats in goal. Kai angles in, looks up, played it back. A chance. That could have been game over. Lauren Cheney sent it wide. That would have been game over.
I am astounded at Natasha Kai in that situation because she's been so aggressive, and not to say that she is a selfish player, but when you're in that position, you keep dribbling towards the goal. I think maybe one more touch just to let Lauren Cheney get a little closer and then play the ball. I like how she drew the defenders to her, however, and then played the ball that only Lauren Cheney could get.
Right.
I think that's outstanding. But at this stage, finish. Put the lid on the game.
Chapman on the free kick where the Canadians could be dangerous. They'll get it back. Long shot off Schmidt.
Because that's exactly what could happen. It goes from being a 3-1 game to a 2-1 game with now a free kick going into your box and now a corner kick. Anything is possible. You have to put things away when given the opportunity. And even in that situation, Christy Rampone does a great job to block the ball. Don't want to take any wild swings at the ball at this stage. You just don't know where they're going to end up.
Send inside. Bodies crash. Schmidt brought it down. Couldn't get a shot off. Solo lost it. No, she didn't lose it. I lost it too. I couldn't find the ball. But that's not critical.
No, but
She has to find it.
That's the scenario we were talking about, punching versus catching. There's too many people. You don't know where you're going to land. Bodies are all over the place. Punch it.
Rampone to the right. Canada has about 6.5, 7 minutes or so in stoppage time left in their Olympics. They need a goal to draw level and then maybe set this one up for penalty kicks to determine a winner.
I parallel that situation to a defender who the ball's coming down under pressure. You don't ask her to.
Here's Kai breaking in. LeBlanc, and that first touch failed, and then a collision.
They both hesitated. They didn't know who was going to go for the ball. But in Hope Solo's case, it's like a defender. The ball's coming down with a lot of pressure from the forwards or the midfielders. You don't take it down. You head it out and you clear it. Staying in the game mentally is the biggest key right now for both teams.
Matheson for Lang, deflected.
Well, that's the situation I'm talking about. Christy Rampone, the same thing. Clear the ball.
Throw in for Canada. Filigno was looking for it. The U.S. moves it ahead. Off that deflection. Cheney sent it forward. Back in Canada's end. LeBlanc is with it. Atlanta-born goalkeeper pushes this one forward. Canada have to play with some desperation. 5 minutes and change maybe is all that's left in their first Olympics.
And now the forwards for the U.S. have to be more disciplined than just wanting to run forward and get that next goal. Punch the ball.
Right. She did try to catch that.
Punch the ball.
Yeah.
Because now you don't know what's going to happen.
I think they were both laughing because of what you just said before. Didn't know who was going to get it, who was coming out.
They didn't. I think they both hesitated.
Inside the box, no hesitation there, cleared out.
Karina LeBlanc actually went down a little awkwardly. Instead of going sideways with her hands behind the ball, she kind of almost tried to scoop it up with her body behind, and she couldn't quite get down to it.
Hucles floating that one over. See what the first legs, though, of Kai have done. Not just scoring the goal, but look at how many touches, how many times she stretched that defense.
Right, absolutely. Put the Canadians under pressure and allow the U.S. to have some relief. They can play it to the space.
The goal obviously is a huge bonus. USA up. Cheney on the run.
Very dangerous.
In the box. The drive. That was close. Side netting.
Big windup. Just a lot of movement going on. A lot of movement. You know, maybe even not taking that shot and cutting it back and keeping it.
Keep the ball.
The whole point right now is just to wear the game out, wear Canada out, take the wind out of their sails. But I know what it's like. You get up there and you want to just blast that ball in the back of the net. You get your heel up by your ear and you just take the biggest windup you could possibly have.
It's not a good time for Canada, nor a good place to foul. USA can manage this game here, take their time in the free kick, keep possession. That's Evan Pellerud. It's his last game as a coach of Canada. He's resigning if they lose.
He had a little bit of a sigh there. You know, just when you think you have things going your way in the game of soccer, they can change.
Chalupny. Tobin Heath pushes that ball up right at LeBlanc, though. She has a chance to get this one upfield. Looking for the big target of Sinclair. Too far, but then Sinclair got a back off mitts.
She should have had the ball.
You don't want to give Canada a second chance there, especially Sinclair.
No, you don't. And you want to be, again, you want to be aggressive and make the right play. The play there is to come up and head the ball. In every circumstance. It's not letting it come to your feet with pressure.
Kai with it. This game started over 4 hours ago. It was suspended because of the lightning.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, seems like longer, right? Is that it, really?
Oh,
just 4 hours?
Feels like it just started.
29th minute, they'll go to 30. Maybe a little bit more with some stoppage time here in this overtime or extra time segment. USA looking to go on to play the winner of China, Japan in the semifinal on Monday.
This is where a player like Christine Sinclair can really make an impact on the game. She's going to have to make a decision as the captain, as the leader, come back and get the ball and just give it her all. I know the tank is running on empty. I mean, there may even just be fumes in the tank, but you still, as the leader of this team, the one that players look to, you're going to have to try and make a difference. That's what Mia Hamm used to do. That's what Abby Wambach does. Christine Lilly. So many late game heroics. That's the type of player she needs to be for her team right now if they have any kind of hope for moving on in this tournament.
She has about 60 seconds to try to get it done, unless more time is added on by the Swedish referee Palmqvist.
Good win by Heather Mitz.
You want her to keep the ball, or the team keep the ball. Nice play. Beautiful play.
And just keep it. You don't have to go to the goal.
Mitz took the shot. I'm with you.
Just keep it. Now you've turned it back over to Canada. I love the run. I thought first it was a good defensive play. She makes a simple pass. She gets it back. But you don't have to shoot it. She's not used to being in those situations. She doesn't make the right choice on what part of her foot to use.
Could have killed the game right there.
Could have ended the game. And that's what you'll need in the next round if you're faced with this situation where you have a lead and it's late in the game.
Keep the ball.
End of game tactics are critical.
USA fans are counting the 3-2-1 down, but it's up to the referee. Up for grabs. Canada's Olympic tournament is coming to an end as Hucles sends it back the other way. There's a lot of emotion on that bench ready to come out.
Absolutely.
We're in stoppage time. For Canada, they want the game to keep going. For the USA, they can't wait to hear that final whistle. It seems like forever for Pia Sundhage and her team.
This was a great team effort by the U.S. A lot of pieces coming together, good mental preparation and I think strength that went into this game. They should be very proud of the way the game came down.
Kai got that one forward. She has what will be the game-winning goal in a matter of seconds. The ball's deflected out. That's going to do it. USA wins. They will advance. You got a final thought?
Canada should be very proud of their effort. Evan Pellerud in his last game should congratulate his players. U.S. have gotten to the point where they want, which is the semifinal, which could lead to the gold medal game. They played collectively a really, really good soccer, and they should be very proud.
Hucles with the first goal. Sinclair tied it, and then Natasha Kai with a game-winning goal. This was as emotional a game as you can imagine. Last one for Evan Pellerud, shaking hands with Pia Sundhage, the two coaches, but this had to be draining for the coaches too. 4 hours plus.
Absolutely, you know, trying to keep their teams ready and prepared for the 4 hours that they were. Here are some of the things that I think should be going through Pia Sundhage's mind. Continue to attack with numbers. Talk about end of game tactics. Talk again also about possession in the midfield, probing balls, not just being hopeful, and how exciting it was.
Final score, USA 2, Canada 1. When we return, we'll go back to our USA Olympic studios. Matt Vasgersian will be there with Brandi Chastain and Christine Lilly.
Today's game is brought to you with limited commercial interruption by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
McDonald's new Southern-style chicken sandwich is a juicy, perfectly seasoned chicken breast with pickles on a buttery tasting bun. Its taste is simply perfect. But how would a football enthusiast describe it?
You know, when you play and win, that's what it's like. It's definitely the tastiest chicken I've ever had. Es delicioso. You either score or you don't. And this one is un golazo.
Come try it for yourself and see how you describe it.
Who wants to be stranded with a flat tire? Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry. Well, I guess I'll be on my way.
Bridgestone. Run flat tires.
Bridgestone.
Tomorrow, it's all new episodes of Monk and Psych. First on Monk.
Where's the exit?
Monk has a meltdown on a nuclear submarine.
Oh my God, we've been hit! We're going down! I mean, we're going down more!
Then on Psych.
I feel ridiculous. Speak for yourself. I've got this shirt at home.
Sean and Gus kick it old school to solve a retro case.
I'm having a vision. I can dig it. I am getting it. And it is a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
It all starts tomorrow with Monk at 9 and Psych at 10. Only on USA. Characters welcome.
Yeah, we can build a neutral wall for a very modern, clean feel.
This is top quality, and we are happy.
And I like it. It looks perfect with the floor coverings. Yeah.
I think so. Please, I'll get this. Oh, thank you. Of course.
Was ist das denn für eine Karte?
Das ist wohl eine Kindergartenkarte.
Bin ich die Einzige, die das merkwürdig findet?
Ja. Auf los.
Good day. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Thanks.
I think that went well, huh?
Yeah. Let me get this, okay?
If you own your business, own the